4, 3, 2, 1. That's not a rocket launch. That's the average time it takes for a child to lose interest if nothing is moving on a screen. And the generation growing up inside this reality has a name: Generation Beta. To be honest, I didn't understand what that really meant until I watched it unfold in my own home. My nephew is just 1 year old. Before he learned to speak in full sentences, before he could explain what he wanted, he learned something else. He learned how to scroll. If the phone was taken away, he didn't look around for people. He didn't reach out for toys. He kept looking for the screen. Apparently, hunger could wait, milk could wait, but scrolling, that was an emergency. And that's when it struck me. The phone already felt like a necessity for him. A small disclaimer: never snatch a phone from a kid because it can lead to a chaotic scene, speaking from my experience. Now, it might sound funny when I say it like that, but there is something serious hidden behind it. Because this isn't about one child, and it's definitely not about bad parenting. It's about the environment that we've created, where stimulation is constant, silence is rare, and attention is trained before awareness even develops. In short, Generation Beta can be described as the first generation growing up in a world where technology isn't new, it's normal. And AI won't feel futuristic, it will be familiar. They won't learn technology later in life, they will learn life itself through technology. And the most valuable currency of their generation would be attention. Now, if you think this concern is exaggerated, the data tells a different story. Among Gen Beta, about 29% say that they feel addicted to their phones. And among baby boomers, it is more than that, 44%. So, if this is the trend that we're following, what happens with the next generation? And this leads to a deeper question. If this isn't about habits or discipline, what is actually happening inside our brain? Neuroscience gives us a very clear answer. There's a neurotransmitter present in our brain, which is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical. But that's not entirely accurate. Dopamine is the learning and motivation signal that keeps knocking the brain's door. This matters, pay attention, repeat this behavior. The Stanford psychiatrist Hannah Lemke describes smartphones as digital hypodermic needles, delivering rapid, frequent, and high intensity dopamine signals directly into our brain's reward system. Watching my nephew scroll endlessly made me wonder what makes it so hard to just simply put the phones down. First, the variable reward system. Every time you check your phone, you have no idea what you'll find. Maybe a new comment on your post, or a new video that is going viral, or a new message from someone. This curiosity, this uncertainty keeps the brain in a constant state of anticipation. And trust me, that anticipation is very powerful because it can lead to repeated checking even without a conscious intention. In other words, we're not just checking phones. We're checking for the possibilities of something exciting. Second, the instant gratification, no effort. The human brain has evolved around an effort reward cycle. We work, we struggle, and then we are rewarded. Whereas these smartphones bypass this completely. With just a single scroll, the brain receives stimulation. Without efforts, without delay, and without limits. Studies suggest that when these rewards become effortless and constant, the brain begins to crave for higher stimulation, while eventually losing the tolerance for slower, smaller, and quieter experiences. Third, the dopamine deficit state. The brain always seeks for a balance. And this process is known as homeostasis. And that's why when the phones are taken away, people don't feel relaxed at all. They feel bored, restless, anxious, and at that point, the phone is no longer creating pleasure. It is simply relieving discomfort. And maybe that explains the chaos when I took the phone from my nephew. Fourth, the intentional AI design. Have you ever noticed? You are scrolling on a random social media app and you pause for a couple of seconds on something. Let's take maybe a pink sharara. You might even like it. Later on, you open a completely different platform and it's there. Coincidence? Not really. AI systems track what you pause on, click on, and linger over. They learn what grabs your attention and show more of it. Not because you asked for it, but to keep you engaged for a longer time. The equation is simple. The system adapts, the brain responds. Fifth, the social validation and FOMO. By show of hands, how many of you have ever maintained streaks on a messaging app? Oh, that's definitely more than what I've expected. But those small numbers, those streaks, isn't just a feature. It's a social validation. A like, a comment, a reply, everything signals connection. You're seen. You're included. And this connects to something powerful. The FOMO, the fear of missing out, the anxiety that if you don't check, you might miss a moment or even be left out. Research shows that these social validations activate the same reward pathways as other pleasurable experiences. So, logging off is no longer a technical decision anymore. It's an emotional one. And for Generation Beta, this interaction, or this emotional loop to be more precise, begins earlier than ever before. So the next time you see a child glued to a screen, it isn't just a lack of discipline. It's a system, technological, psychological, and neurological working together to grab the attention. Every generation leaves a world behind for the next one. And each and every choices they make can impact it. Now imagine turning on the news in the year 2035 and hearing something like this. Breaking news. Generation Beta faces a childhood crisis. Schools report that the children are facing difficulties to focus for more than 5 minutes. Homeworks are abandoned. Deep learning is considered boring. Meanwhile, families struggle at home. The phones glow brighter than the faces around them. Children find comfort with AI companions rather than parents or siblings. Now let's come back to the present. What we just saw was just a glimpse of a possible future. And yes, it is alarming. But just remember, these are just projections, not destinies. We still have control. We still have choice. And that choice is powerful. We have talked about the generation, the dopamine, the design. So the real question is no longer who created this problem. The real question is, how are we going to take responsibility for? Because blaming technology is easy, but shaping childhood, that's on us. In this case, most of the solutions fail because they demand for way too much. Delete the apps, lock the phones, change everything overnight. But no, life doesn't work that way. And children definitely don't work like that. So I believe in something small, something realistic. A few months ago, I visited a friend's home for dinner. Before we all sat down, he placed a basket and said, "Everyone's phone, go there." At first, we all laughed. Someone asked, "What if we receive an important message?" But soon, one by one, the phones went inside. To be honest, at first it was completely strange. People kept reaching out to their pockets out of habit. But soon, something changed. Conversation started. Stories came out, and laughter filled the room. And that's when I realized that one small rule of just keeping the phones aside during the dinner table turned an ordinary evening into a real memory. And that's what I mean when I say something small, something realistic, just 1%. Yes, you heard it right. 1%. Now, this might seem very slow, but trust the process. Slow changes will lead to a steady change. And steady change will lead to a long lasting change. You don't have to win the whole battle today. You just need to show up 1% more than yesterday. To understand this better, let's do something simple, something human. For the next 15 seconds, I want you to close your eyes and think of one childhood memory where you felt genuinely happy. All right. Thank you. You can open your eyes. Now, by show of hands, how many of you had people in that memory? Okay. Now, how many of you had screens, gadgets, and video games in that memory? Almost no one. Interesting, right? Most of our happiest memories almost never involve screens. They involve people. And by the way, the memory you've just accessed, it didn't need AI. It didn't need Wi-Fi. It just needed time. And that's what 1% is all about. 1% is not the drastic change. It means the deliberate presence. So start with 1% of your time. Just 10 minutes. Sit with them. Talk, play, laugh. Teach them what the real bond is all about. They might feel bored at first, and that's completely okay. Because boredom is not the enemy. It is the gateway to imagination. So make them understand. 1% less scrolling is 1% more storytelling before bed. 1% less YouTube is 1% more autoplay. 1% phones down is 1% eye contact during the meal. You don't have to be the perfect parents, teachers, or adults. You just need to be present. Just 1% more, because it's better to grow 1% every day than improve 100% for just one day and crash the next. 1% of your effort today can change 100% of their lives tomorrow. Just remember, the technology should serve our lives, not replace our childhood. And for Generation Beta, the smallest choices we make can change everything. Just 1%. One more moment of presence, one more moment of attention, and one more moment of laughter. Right now, the future of their childhood is standing at a crossroad. Two paths, two choices. Path one, the path of distraction. If we do nothing, we can let the screens and distractions take over their childhood, leaving them with just memories of endless scrollings, notifications, and the moments that truly never connect. Here, the bedtime stories are replaced by autoplay videos, whereas conversations shrink into short replies between notifications. Part 2, the path of presence. Or we can choose something different. We can give them the genuine laughter, the real connection, and the kind of memory that will stay with them forever. Even in this future, the technology still exists, but it stays in its place. It all starts with 1%. One more moment of presence, one more moment of attention, and one more moment of laughter. The technology can be a wonderful servant as well as a terrible master. For Generation Beta, the choice is in our hands. So, what will we choose? Thank you.